My wife starts full-time. My wife starts full-time.
And Jai.
My name is Jai, and I also serve full-time in the Bhakti Academy.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, my name is Sarthak, and I also serve full-time.
My name is Rajwal Das. I am like visitor now.
Friend of Bhakti Academy.
Krishna Prabhu. Himanshu, nice to see you again. We'll talk about this. Hi. Krishna. Alex, nice to meet you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my name is Ishan.
Ishan. Good to see you.
Hare Krishna, my name is Manu. I serve full-time. Hare Krishna, my name is Amna Harinam Das. I also serve full-time.
You are.
Hare Krishna, my name is Vishesh. I serve part-time.
Vishesh?
Vishesh.
Vishesh, nice to meet you.
Hare Krishna, my name is Rohan, and I serve part-time.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's start by talking about this full-time, part-time stuff, okay? Okay, if you're a devotee, you're serving full-time. Arjuna was not in the Bhakti Academy. But was he serving full-time?
Yes.
All right, so this is the point, yes. Yad karosi, yad asnasi, yad jahosi, dadasi yad. Whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we give in charity, Krishna says, do that as an offering to me. And by this principle of renunciation, you'll come to me. So we have a mission, and that's great, and that's important. And if people don't take up the mission, it won't be much of a mission. Now, in any kind of religious organization, you could say there's generally one shepherd and 100 sheep, right? The minister, the priest, the rabbi is supposed to lead the flock, but the majority of the members are not rabbis or priests. They're professionals, they're family people, they're people in the world who keep that faith. So we take it a step further in Krishna consciousness because we have the techniques of spiritual life, the regulative principles of freedom that everybody can observe regardless of their particular dharma. And this is Prabhupada's great gift. Whatever our situation in life, we can spiritualize it if we have that, if we want to do so. Nobody can do it for us. One of the reasons I kind of lost interest in my spiritual upbringing in Christianity was because I saw that people would adhere to the faith and yet not gain a lot of realization in their spirituality. In other words, it was possible to just believe and then you could do pretty much whatever you want. And that struck me as being less than complete. And so, by Krishna's grace, through bhakti, by Prabhupada's grace, I have this wonderful experience that now you're all sharing, and I'm happy to share with you. Hi, welcome. We have room. Okay. Hi, I'm Kalakantha, and you're?
Puja.
Puja. Nice to meet you. Okay, so was all clear on that? Dharma is not exclusively for those who are working in the mission. Bhakti is not exclusively for those who are working in the mission. But, on the other hand, to simply say I am a devotee of Krishna, but then not to practice bhakti is not bhakti. Okay? So it's more than just prescribed belief or subscribing to some faith. Okay? In the Gita, Krishna speaks this beautiful verse, Yanisha sarva bhutanam yasyam jagrati bhutani. Yasyam jagrati sarvani sanisha pashito mune. This means that what is night for the average person is the time of awakening for the spiritualist. Right? So the time, and what is night for the materialist is the time of awakening for the ordinary, for the introspective sage. See? So this is why we have the morning sadhana. And in Krishna consciousness, we recognize that the nighttime hours are the mode of ignorance. Basically anything, actually there's 3 segments of the day, okay? From 6 p.m. till 2 a.m., that's the tamaguna. From 2 a.m. till 10 a.m. is sattvaguna, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is rajaguna. So whatever we do during those morning hours from 2 to 10, we'll do the best because that's the mode of goodness. Whatever we do at that time will be excellent. So what then becomes the question, what is our priority? If our priority is chanting and practicing spiritual life, no better time to do it. Then we'll do it at that time. If our priority is sleeping, there is no better time for sleeping. We will do our best sleeping in those hours. Actually, the tamaguna is actually the better time for sleeping. We will be very intelligent if we take rest at the end of the day when our bodies are tired, and then we don't push or keep ourselves up artificially into the night. So being a devotee means that we end our night early and we start our day early. And that's why the ashram is so helpful, to help us adjust our circadian rhythms to that way of life. I began doing this when I was 18 years old, and it has been almost 54 years now since I've been resting early and rising early. And it's those precious hours in the morning are the best part of the day. Whatever you like to do, whatever's important to you, you do it in those hours, you'll excel. So that's one of the things we learn in the ashram. If we can't rest early, we can't rise early. That's another thing. Like one of the problems with you young people is you think you're invincible. I used to be stupid too, but you learn in time. No, in the Gita, Krishna says specifically that one cannot be a yogi unless one gets enough sleep and enough food, as well as recreation. All of these things create a balanced life. So when we're young, we tend to think, okay, I'll stay in the ashram and I'll do my regular nighttime whatever, and then I'll get up early because I got to get up early. And we get up early. Then we cannot be yogis. So really, it's the hardest part of bhakti for most young people is learning to go to bed during the tamaguna hours. If you get that down, it's something you can carry the rest of your life. Whether you're in the office or with the family or the business, whatever you're doing, you will be a step ahead because you're using your life for a purpose beyond the ordinary. That's the great gift that Srila Prabhupada has given us. It's when you're young, you have so many things in front of you. You have career, you have to marry or not marry, to have children, not to have children, to live here, to live there, and all these things are your dharma that you have to deal with. However, they are not our sanatana dharma. They're not our permanent position. No matter how successful we are in setting up our lives in this world, it'll be gone in a moment. We all know that intellectually, and yet at the same time, we have a great deal of need to deal with it. Okay? We must deal with it. So, Krishna consciousness means we deal with it with a degree of detachment. And that's so helpful because the way life unfolds is rarely the way we plan it out. It's said that man plans and God laughs. So, and women tell him he was wrong. So the idea is learn these things in the ashram, carry them with you for your life, do your duties, do what you need to do, and you'll always know that my real purpose lies beyond these externals and these superficial things. Okay. All right, so any discussion on these points or other points? Any questions? This is your time to see if I know anything. Yes, sir.
Continuing this discussion, according to you, how many hours of sleep is necessary?
So, Srila Prabhupada says 6 to 7 hours should be sufficient. 8 if you need it. The point is to get enough. It isn't necessary to be sleep deprived to be Krishna conscious. We used to have a festival in New Vrindavan called the Festival of Inspiration. And it got the nickname of the Festival of Sleep Deprivation. So 8 hours is fine if that's what you need. And you know, the younger we are, actually, the more sleep we typically need. So if you can get by in 6 hours, that's very good. Get by in 7 hours, that's okay. If you need 8 hours, that's also fine. Just make sure you get those 8 hours before midnight as much as possible. It's said that every hour of sleep you get before midnight is worth 2 after midnight. And it's natural, because that's when the body is actually tired at the end of the day. It needs to be refreshed. But we have all kinds of habits that, end of the day means it's me time.
Yeah.
Right? Now I can do whatever I want, finally. So it's a very simple thing. Just shift your me time to the morning. If you need me time, go to bed, and you get up, then have your me time. But you'll be refreshed. Okay.
Is it okay to sleep? So I have this habit of sleeping 2 to 3 or 2 to 3:30, like in afternoon.
Nap.
In
Nap.
naps.
Yeah. Nap in the the earlier in the day, the better for naps. Okay? If we nap too late in the day, it will interfere with our ability to go to sleep. Obviously, common sense. The other thing about naps, Prabhupada used to call them snaps. You can actually be quite refreshed with a short rest, 15 minutes to half an hour. And definitely, if we're tired, then we should take rest. It's just, we need to learn to control our sleep instead of letting our sleep control us. So definitely a nap is all right. In fact, it's very natural to rest. Some cultures of the world have their whole, especially in warm climates, like in India, right? They'll be very active in the morning, and then many of the shops will close in the middle of the day, right? Because people are going, after eating, it's very natural to rest a little bit, and then in the evening, again. That's okay. Just so don't make it too late in the day, that's all. Okay, yes, Vishaka.
At times, some devotees may feel that that they have to be a little hard on themselves in order to succeed in their bhakti, right? Maybe doing more than required, or just really torturing themselves, maybe in the name of humility, seeing themselves way too low, and at the same time, then there is other side that which is like, that you have to just add Krishna in your life. So which is the right way? Because somewhere we're taught by our parents, by our school, everywhere, that like no pain, no gain. So you have to push yourself a lot, you have to work hard a lot in order to succeed, but at the same time, not necessarily that is very good for them. Or that is good, I don't know. So could you just talk about that?
Right. So the Bhagavad Gita talks about this, about working in the various modes of nature. So when there is work that's done for a specific external goal, this is work in the mode of passion. And mode of passion brings distress. So work that's done because it has to be done, because it's our duty to do it, that's work in the mode of goodness. And work that doesn't get done is work in the mode of ignorance, basically. So the society is generally in the mode of passion. If we're pushed by parents or by society or our own ambitions to do more than we're really comfortable doing, this is the pressure, influence of the mode of passion. sometimes we may feel inspired to go beyond our boundaries for particular goals. Are we doing them for Krishna, or are we doing them for our own economic development or prestige or to please somebody else? This is the question we have to ask. Working very hard for Krishna is different because it's joyful. Yagnartat karmanon yantra loko yam karma bandhana. In the 3rd chapter of the Gita, Krishna says that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. So if we think about that, if we're doing some external work very vigorously, just for some material goal, all we're doing is binding ourselves in the material world. This is the distress that comes from such pursuits. When we do our duties because we must do them, and we do them as an offering to Krishna, then that is not only the mode of goodness, but the transcendental position. One of the most popular verses in the Bhagavad Gita amongst the Hindu community is from the 2nd chapter, Karmadikaraste, Matpaleshu Yadarpani. Do your duty, but don't be attached to the results. Right? So this is the mode of goodness. To work as we're obligated, but not to be attached to the results. Like Arjuna, initially in the Bhagavad Gita, wanted to walk away from the fight because he said, it's not worth it for me to impose this pain on my relatives just to get a kingdom. So I'm not going to do it. Right? And so he was walking away, but Krishna said, wait, this is your duty. Do it because you're doing it, you must do it as a Kshatriya. And beyond that, do it because it's my desire for you to do that. In this way, Arjuna showed us the difference between working very hard for a material goal and working hard for Krishna. So, you know this old Aesop's fable, the tortoise and the hare? Remember this? So the rabbit and the turtle were going to race, and the rabbit said, oh, this is a joke, and he got way ahead, and then he stopped for a nap. And then the turtle, being persistent, passed him. So the race goes to the tortoise, not the hare. Being in the mode of goodness means that we are able to work persistently at something that does not necessarily bring immediate results. It's said that happiness, a beautiful definition of happiness. Happiness is the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. So step by step, bit by bit. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. This applies to our school, our career, our pursuits in life, and especially to our bhakti. All we have to do is be consistent in bhakti and we'll make advancement. That's another important lesson from the ashram. So I've seen people come into the ashram who are struggling, let's say, in school, and through the discipline of the ashram become much better students. They didn't necessarily work harder, they just worked better, they worked smarter, they worked with a controlled mind and controlled senses. And so we're able to focus much more and accomplish much more in their study. One of our students in Gainesville won the International Student of the Year Award of the University of Florida out of 10,000 students. First place. Yeah. So you can't do everything nicely for Krishna. What we want to do is learn to do it in the mode of goodness, which again means persistently, steadily, without attachment, without over-endeavoring, in a sustainable, joyful way. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That was not a blessing, that was an order. So we have to find out how to be happy in our spiritual life. And that means we have to apply ourselves to those things that bring us joy. We find joy in sadhana, we find joy in sangha, we find joy in kirtan, we find joy in prasadam. These simple, just taking these joys as they come. Then our whole life becomes infused with happiness. But chanting is the foundation. Of course, chanting can be the hardest part. How many here have trouble chanting sometimes? How many are dishonest? Okay, no, we all have trouble. Chanting is a challenge to our minds, and so the mind is used to being in charge, and so we are really swimming upstream in relation to society, in relationship to our old habits, the Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam. The Vegas, the pushes, include the urge to speak and the urge of the mind to control. So when we chant japa, we stop speaking prajalpa and we vibrate the name of Krishna. And we stop listening to the mind, we start listening to the transcendental sound. So we're pushing back against the pushes. But through that austerity and that discipline, then life becomes infused with more and more joy. We pursue those things that really bring us happiness and do them. That's a good sign that Krishna is pleased with what we're doing. All right. Yes. It should not be a passionate effort. It should be a joy. Shushukam kartum avyayam. Yes, questions? Yes. Please remind me your name again. Ishan and Rashish. Okay.
Yes, sir. My question was about, most of us here might be future leaders of tomorrow. So I just wanted to ask about how does this ashram life and setting, because you've experienced this as well, how does this help one establish a work ethic and establish certain characteristics to lead society in the future?
Very good question. So in ordinary society, character is a low priority or doesn't even matter at all. Let me tell you a story. When I was a brahmachari, my friend and I went to visit a professor at the State University of New York in Buffalo, not far from here. So this professor had written a review of Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, and it was a beautiful review. It was so beautiful that they printed it in the book. So we contacted this professor and said, would you like us to come and do a presentation in your class? And he said, yes, please, come. So we set some date. That date, a month or two later, we were there. It was January in Buffalo. There was snow up to here, and it was freezing cold. And we got off the bus and found this address. This was, before GPS. And anyway, we made our way there and knocked on the door. It was this big, old, spooky-looking house. So we knocked on the front door and knocked and knocked. Nobody came. Finally, this bedraggled hippie came to the door. We're here to see Professor Powell. Oh, he's around back upstairs. So we went up back, climbed the outdoor steps, knocked on the door. The professor opened the door, long beard, long hair. Yes, I'm Professor Howell, come in. And we entered the room, and it had a certain familiar smell from our pre-Krishna conscious days. So we introduced ourselves and said, we're here to give a class for you. He said, I don't remember inviting you for a class. I said, well, remember you wrote this review for the Bhagavad Gita, our Bhagavad Gita. We contacted you. I don't remember writing a review. And we showed him the review. We showed him the letter. He said, okay, well, I don't remember, but that's fine. You can come. Come and give a class today. Absolutely, I don't care. So it was all very strange. So we went in and gave the class. Then afterwards we were chatting with him. And he was explaining, when I was a young professor, I played by the rules. And I did everything right. And then I got tenure, and now I can do whatever I want. So, your question, Ishan, about following the rules, yeah? I want to make sure I'm addressing your question properly. But in the nectar of instruction, there are two admonitions about following the rules, right? To follow the rules blindly, just for the sake of following them, or not to follow them. Niyamagraha and niyamagraha, right? So we learn the discipline of bhakti, we learn the rules, again, for the sake of pleasing Krishna. It's a little sacrifice, and the returns are so great in that joy that comes from bhakti. If we are thinking that by following the rules, Krishna is obliged to reveal himself, it's a misunderstanding. Following the rules is just a little offering that we make to Krishna, and just a few little things. 4 regular principles, chanting 8 rounds or 16 if we're initiated, resting early, rising early. It's not a lot. We're just making a little sacrifice for Krishna. If you think about it, in material life, people sacrifice so much for some temporary goals. Yeah. So by this sacrifice, little of following rules, we are preparing ourselves for a life of meaning and purpose. A life that will not just be a blip in somebody's memory or nobody's memory after some time. Okay. Am I addressing your question okay?
Yes. Yeah. I'm also talking about in terms of, how does this, because you address the point of, it's helping you, that once you get out of this, the ashram as well, it helps you with, guiding you in a higher purpose, right? So,
Yes.
how does it, keep you going?
It takes discipline to be in the ashram. There's no question. Years ago, there was a young man who moved into the ashram in Boston, and he was very obedient, and very cooperative, and did everything. And he shaved his head, and he put on the dhoti. And after 6 months, he came to the temple president and said, "I'm actually with the FBI, and we were inspecting you people to see if you're dealing drugs. And I see you're clean, so I'm leaving now, and you passed the test. And by the way," he said, "this was harder than the Navy." There is a degree of discipline without a doubt, and yet it's relatively modest if we have a taste. If you have no taste, it's murder. It's torture. But if you have a little taste, and that taste is natural. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kabunoi. This means that loving Krishna is natural for everyone. It's dormant in the heart of everyone. It just has to be awakened, and it's awakened by this process of hearing and chanting. So in the ashram, I would say we hit about 2/3. 2/3 of the time, maybe a little better, 3/4 of the time, people will have an experience of spirituality that is so substantial that it really changes them for the rest of their lives. But not always. It's not guaranteed. But very often, people will have that experience and want to continue for that reason. That's the goal. Just to find out how to be happy in spiritual life. Because that happiness comes from within, and whatever happens on the outside cannot affect it. If we're dependent on the external things for happiness, then we're just like some seaweed in the ocean, getting tossed here and there. We have no control. All right, anything else? Okay. Amalahainam.
Thank you, Prabhu. My question is, all of us are here to work on ourselves, either emotionally, mentally, and physically as well, to some extent. What should be our mood with our peers here specifically? I see sometimes it just becomes too formal. Sometimes I personally get over friendly with everyone, like, hey. So what should be the right way? Because all these people are practicing on their self as well. So what is the best mood to practice with all these bhakti yogis?
Okay, great question. The first principle is service. Service is the most congenial form of intimacy. If we're always in the mood of serving the other devotees, then our relationships will be great. And we'll always feel great. We'll always know what to do. If we're always thinking, how can I serve this person? Then the whole atmosphere becomes Vaikuntha. The other attitude that's important for dealing nicely with devotees is gratitude. That in the Gita, Krishna explains, Manusyanam Sahasreshu. It's a rare soul who comes to Krishna consciousness. Very rare, special person. So devotees, all devotees, at every level, very special personalities. How to relate to them, to serve them, to appreciate them, to overlook the shortcomings. To focus on the... That's right, I know the drill. Can you make some room here?
I have a question. Mine is Uncle S disturbing the entire assembly.
No. He needs to use the washroom here. Okay. That's all right. It's only...
Sorry.
That's all right. No, I've been there. I gotta say. At least you didn't have to break up Bhakti Margmar, I should talk. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, being grateful for the devotees, recognizing the devotees are special personalities, recognizing that they're rare. If we go out from time to time and do Harinam or maybe distribute some books and interact with the common people, that helps us appreciate the devotees. So some people, see, Krishna consciousness doesn't change us, it just makes us more of who we are. It just brings out more of our actual nature and personality. So there's not one size that fits all. When I was a young brahmachari, it was like everyone has to distribute books. I wasn't very good at distributing books, but if you want to be a devotee, you distribute books. Because we were young and not very experienced. And so the people who were good at distributing books were great devotees. And the people who weren't, they were just... See, so now we understand in a more broad way. There's going to be, it takes everybody to make a Krishna conscious society, community, world. Everybody, and people will have a great variety of activities and occupations. And all of them are being done for Krishna. That's the spiritual world. So we want to look for the good in others and be a little aloof from the shortcomings. Especially in an ashram setting, it's very important that everyone feels accepted and appreciated. So therefore, we all need to know that it's usually not our duty to correct other people. Sometimes it is our duty, and it's a tough duty, but in general, we don't have to correct others. We don't have to tell them what they're doing wrong. In fact, what we should do, we look to catch people doing things right and appreciating them. It's said that a saintly person will magnify the good in others, and an envious person will magnify the bad in others. So we see somebody doing something nice, why not appreciate it? That was a very good job you did, leading the kirtan, giving the class, cleaning the bathroom, cooking the lunch, whatever, giving appreciation. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada writes that one whose tongue is decorated with appreciation for others is worshipped even by the demigods. So these are the disciplines to make the ashram into the spiritual world. Always being serving and always appreciating.
So, Prabhu, you said Krishna consciousness won't change us, it makes us who we are. So, could you please give a little brief about it?
It makes us more of who we are. It brings out who we are in the highest sense. We don't have to fit into certain mold in order to be devotees. We just have to find what makes us joyful and pursue that. We have to do the duties that come to us and do them for Krishna. And in the course of that, our own personality, our spiritual personality gradually emerges in the course of our life. You see, the impersonalist, and by the way, we all have impersonal tendencies. We all have a tendency to think, oh, life is too troublesome, let me pull back. Let me just be by myself. Relationships are too troublesome, let me just be alone. And so if we do that, we never manifest our personality. We only exist in relation to other people, really. When we're with others, we find out who we are. And that's a really good thing, and that's a really difficult thing at the same time. We find out our good qualities, our service mood, our appreciation, and we find out our bad qualities, our selfishness, our pettiness, our laziness, our stubbornness. That also comes out, you see. So living in the ashram is like the rock polisher, you know? The rock polisher is a centrifuge. You put in ordinary stones, cover the top, and grind. After a while, they come out, oh, they're all round and beautiful and shiny. So in the ashram, you're with a lot of other people, and the false ego gets, the rough spots get nicked off. If we are able to endure that austerity, our true, shiny, beautiful nature comes out more and more.
Thank you.
Okay. O'Neill, and then.
It's a very similar question, but how do we know what is ourself and what all habits, characteristics we need to give up, like anger, greed, lust?
Right. So it said, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunai tatra samasate sura. That by practicing bhakti, all the good qualities develop. Harav abhaktasya kato mahadgana. But if we're not trying to serve Krishna, where are the good qualities? See? So this is a question of trust. If we had the ability to be saintly persons, we would have made ourselves saintly persons a long time ago. Our process is depending on Krishna, and then Krishna purifies us. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. We serve Krishna, and he gives us the intelligence by which we can come to him. That's the deal. It's like Mother Yashoda, Kartik's coming up, right? So Mother Yashoda is trying to tie up Krishna. And the rope is just, it's always 2 fingers too short, right? So it said that those 2 inches, or those 2 fingers, represent our endeavor and Krishna's mercy. If our endeavor is there, then we're eligible for Krishna's mercy. We cannot do it on our own endeavor. But we're not eligible for Krishna's mercy if we don't endeavor. So it is a combination. So to answer your question, are we trying to please Krishna? Are we doing this for Krishna? If so, then we don't have to worry about, now I have to manifest this quality and that quality. Those good qualities come of their own accord. This is called anartha nivritti. And it's really the most powerful experience in the early stages of bhakti. When we start developing, we start finding ourselves manifesting good qualities. We're more patient. We're nicer to people. We are happier. We're starting to experience these things just by chanting Hare Krishna. It's a powerful awakening. We don't have to endeavor separately to develop the good qualities of the devotee. Okay? We just have to endeavor to please Krishna. And then avoid offenses. Try to serve the devotees, appreciate the devotees. Why? Because that pleases Krishna. Okay? Yes, Prabhu.
So, what is the difference between false ego and false pride?
Mm-hmm. Difference between false ego and false pride. Okay, so ego means one's sense of self. So false ego means a false sense of who we are. Okay? That means specifically to be on the bodily concept of life. I am this body, whatever it may be, tall, short, fat, thin, male, female, it's me. It's not us. That bodily concept of life is the false ego. Okay. Now, that manifests, like if somebody insults us, our false ego gets worked up. Do you know who I am? Who do you think you are? You see? So that's a manifestation of this bodily concept, where we think we're the doer, we think that we are very exceptional. Okay? So false pride is slightly different in that it means that we're thinking ourselves the doer. Okay? You could say false ego means we think we're the enjoyer. False pride means we think we're the doer. So look at all this I have accomplished. I have done this, I have done that. I have gotten these grades, I have made this much money. I have this many likes on my YouTube video. Right. So these are connected but slightly different things. The false ego, I'm the enjoyer. False pride, I'm the doer. In Krishna consciousness, we know that Krishna is the enjoyer. If Krishna is enjoying, then I'm enjoying on the highest level. I'm enjoying in a sustainable way. If Krishna is pleased, then I am always pleased. And we also understand that Krishna is the doer, and this is related to Monil's question. We're not the ones who develop good qualities. We're not the ones who work on ourselves. Krishna is the ability. Krishna is manifests the good qualities in the heart of his devotee. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana fridyantaksto hyabadrani vidhunoti saritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, sitting in the heart, cleanses the heart of material contamination when the devotee is actively chanting his name in pastimes. Okay? All right. Okay? Jai.
We can take one last question.
Okay. Anyone from the ladies' side? Ladies have been listening patiently.
Yeah.
Oh no, someone can go from this.
What's that?
I said someone can go from here.
Okay, anyone? Okay. Subhadra?
Catch.
Okay.
Subhadra, catch.
I have this question, like how can we protect ourselves from some things, like sometimes we don't like someone's behavior or things are not going appropriate according to us, and personally I get very much affected by it, like for days. How do you protect yourself?
Isn't that amazing? Yes, like somebody insults us and then we become obsessed with it. And we all struggle with this. So this is related to the false ego and the false pride. You know, I read recently that anyone get angry with people sometimes? You get angry? So anger lasts about 90 seconds, physiologically. There's some release of adrenaline. It lasts about a minute and a half. Then done. But when the mind replays it over and over again, it will last for days and weeks and months and even a lifetime. So it's not something we can turn off like that unless there's one. We have to just keep chanting even though the mind is disturbed, unless there is one immediate way to deal with it. Would you like to know that? The person that we are angry with or the person we feel insulted with, we have to go to them. And please listen very carefully because this will really help your spiritual life. We go to them and express our feelings in a non-violent way. That if you want to turn off that anger, that's the best chance of doing it is that way. And what do I mean by expressing our feelings? It's just to say, I am feeling this. Okay? If we express our feelings, that's unimpeachable. That's absolutely true. I'm not saying my feelings are right or wrong, but this is what I'm feeling. Nobody can say, you're not feeling that. What are you talking about? I'm feeling what I'm feeling. So these are called difficult conversations. So what is our tendency? If we're angry at somebody, what do we usually do?
We put them down, accuse them,
We overthink.
make them defensive.
We'll overthink. What will we do with other people? We will reveal our mind, right? What are we really doing when we're revealing our mind? We're trying to get people to gang up on this other person, right? Although it might feel good in the moment, what happens when we do that is it just makes it worse. We're actually making an offense to that person and digging ourselves in a deeper and deeper hole. So what do we need to do? We need to be able to go to that person and say, I may be wrong. I have imperfect senses. But I'm feeling this anger from this thing that you said or this thing that you did. It's not a you message. You did this. And it was wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. That's violent. It makes a person defensive. If we go and say, I may be wrong, but this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling some anger towards you. And then we give them a chance to respond, to perhaps make amends. That can vanquish the anger on the spot. But if we go around and tell 10 other people, it just gets worse and worse and worse, you see? Okay?
Yeah, but sometimes there are some situations where you cannot react. You cannot say. How do you cope up with that?
What is an example? What is a situation where you can't go to the person and say straightforwardly what you're feeling?
Sometimes it's like there has been a situation like there's so many people sitting around and you don't like the behavior of the situations happening, and then it affects you. I don't know if it should.
Obviously, it's not something you would say in front of other people.
Yeah.
But you could go to that person and saying, when we were sitting at the table and you said or did this, I was feeling upset. You just give the verse and not the purport.
Okay.
This is what I was feeling.
Yes.
They may or may not respond in a way that you like, but there's at least a chance that they can say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. And then the feelings are absolved.
Yes. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
all right. Punyashavan Prabhu.
I was wondering, at the start of the session, you mentioned how those who are serving part-time are actually full-time devotees.
Yes.
My question is, for those of us who are not living in the ashram full-time but are working in the secular world, are we still deriving the same benefits of bhakti as
Absolutely.
someone?
See, the householder ashram is an ashram. It's grihastha ashram, and it's also meant to be a sacred place. This is why the grihastha is called adhikari, one who is able. So living in the temple ashram, we have the ability of, the facility of everybody's support. When we graduate from the ashram and move out, then we're tested. Are we going to rest early, rise early, chant early when there's nobody around, no one else around doing it, and nobody who is watching to see if we are doing it? And we haven't signed a memo saying, I will do this. See? So it is incumbent on the grihastha to continue practicing of their own realization and volition. If we do that, there's no difference. It's actually harder, more challenging to maintain sadhana as a grihastha.
Right. Just, I guess, as a follow-up, is there, because, like in the varnashram system, it says after grihastha you may take retired life, and maybe you go deeper into your Krishna conscious, full-time with your partner in that way. Is that the general path, or is it that one should?
That's the path for most people. Yeah. I can't find this in the database, but I was told, and it may have been in this very room, that Prabhupada was asked, is it a fall down if a brahmachari gets married To which Prabhupada said, what is the question of fall down? It's already the lowest position. So that's the ordinary course of life for most people. If we can experience life, a single celibate ashram life, that's very good for detachment later in life. So that's the ordinary course is some training, then grihastha ashram, followed by more detachment later in life. Okay, but each case is individual. If people are comfortable being single, they can be single their whole life and be happy, that's fine. If people are maintaining good sadhana as householders later in life, there's no need to take sannyas.
I wasn't asking for myself, just to be clear.
We're asking for a friend.
I was asking for Raj
Okay, anything else?
We can take one more question if you have, otherwise we can just wind up.
Up to you. I'm good if you want to. Otherwise, we'll.
Okay, one last question, Vishesh.
Vishesh Prabhu, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a question that made me think about my office situation today, and because we're thinking if we go to outside the world, not just stay in the ashram, the world also needs that. I mean,
yes.
And because often my boss talks about where you're going Friday night, and I'm the only one who's not saying the bar, right? So if I have my kids going to schools and if I have my younger sister going to her office space, I want devotees to be discreetly present around her.
Absolutely.
So that's also important.
Absolutely. There's no question of part-time, full-time. We need devotees in every echelon of society. You know, in the history of Christianity, the Christians were considered a very minor cult, and then a problematic or kind of eccentric or troublesome religious minority for 3 centuries, 300 years. But then over time, the Christians were recognized as having such good character that they started getting more and more responsible positions in society. And finally, it came to the point where the king made Christianity the religion of the whole kingdom, 300 years later. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said that the principles of religion are spread not by logic and debate, but by the behavior of the devotees. So your point, absolutely right. You would want your children to be in an office where there was a devotee present. And so you're being that devotee now in your office. Yeah.
Can you repeat that again, please?
What is
the principle of religion?
Yeah, the principles of religion are established not by logic and debate, but by the behavior of the devotees. I believe that's spoken in relation to Sanatana Goswami. All right. So nice to see you all. I wanted to say what a privilege it is for me to be here and to meet you and to have your association. Thank you for bringing me. So good to see you all making such a great choice in your life. This is, people my age can rarely say this, but I have absolutely no regrets about moving to an ashram as a young man and living my life in Krishna consciousness. It's been wonderful. And it's a joy to share it also with others. Thank you. Haribol.
If anyone would like to have a private